SABC News presentation.
Good morning and welcome to the first edition of A View from the House at the beginning of this 9th week of 2012. We are coming to you live from our parliamentary studio in Cape Town. I'm Kokeli Tanda. Our first story today deals with a new bill to bring all civilian intelligence agencies under one umbrella. We also look at some of last week's member statements, and those statements deal with corruption, career guidance to learners, South Africa's status as a trade gateway to Africa, and a range of other issues brought to Parliament by members. We go to our first story. An ad hoc committee has begun its scrutinizing of the General Intelligence Laws Amendment Bill. Now, this bill is in essence a technical amendment bill for the establishment of the State Security Agency. The bill does not bring major policy changes with regard to intelligence gathering in South Africa. Its intention is rather to bring all intelligence work in this country under one umbrella. At this point in time, there are various civilian intelligence bodies as well as those in the military and the police. It has developed a bureaucratic problem. Services are being duplicated and salary demands on the budget become bigger and bigger because of that. The Committee on General Intelligence Laws Amendment Bill is to change all of that, says the Minister of State Security, Dr. Siyabonga Cwele. Others had tried before, even in the mid-90s, but in a briefing to the ad hoc committee, the minister said this time around he was confident that he would succeed.
As we said, we already had 3 departments in a very short time. NIA was a department with a DG as an accounting officer and the following support services. We had South African Secret Services as a department, distinct department with its own DG and the whole duplication of its own support services. And of late, we were now starting to have Sanai as a department too, just a college to be a department with its own CEO and support services. As I said, we also had this entity called ComSec Pty Ltd. The point we are bringing here, all these 4 structures were having their own accounting officers and their own corporate services. In order to minimize the duplications, functions and costs, particularly in the support environment, over the years, a concept of a shared services board, they even established a board, the concept of shared services was muted to try to say, please, you are in one environment, basically. Try and rationalize some of the functions so that we can cut costs. And but this concept really never materialized. The only thing they could just share was, the gardens and the grounds. They couldn't even share the security, the protective security. So it became really a silo mentality deepening.
The minister said it had gone so far that each one of these institutions has started to do their own training. The duplication of expensive intelligence gathering platforms has also become very costly. This has led to the establishment of the State Security Agency in 2009. The policy review process is now in its 2nd phase, and a white paper was expected to be published by next year to hopefully culminate in the new State Security Bill by 2014.
The current legislation, basically, if you go to the next page, is general about operation of phase 1, what we describe in phase 1. It disestablishes NIA, SAS, and SANAI departments and ComSec, and establishes one department, the State Security Agency, one accounting officer, and perform the functions. All what we have done is to take the functions which were performed by these entities and put them as functions of the new entity called State Security Agency.
The minister pointed out that although members of the intelligence community work for the state, a different set of rules were applicable to them. These were still to be guarded over by the Intelligence Services Council. Unlike other state departments, spies were not allowed to strike.
Because if they strike, that will put your lives in danger. You won't have a peaceful sleep. While you are sleeping, honorable member, our members are working quietly and smartly to ensure that you are safe and secure.
Minister Kwele said the Intelligence Services Council will regularly engage with members in order to improve their working condition. Because of the nature of intelligence work, union involvement could create a security risk.
Once you got unions, we don't have any authority. Even outsiders can represent those members. And we are dealing with sensitive information. And we have seen it in other security structures where they allowed union. You get all sorts of elements representing these members, demanding documents and so on. So, but we have been over years trying to improve, but we are sometimes constrained by the budget, because we are a very small community with very limited budget, but we continue to find ways of improving the conditions of service of our members. As you know, our members are supposed to be on duty and available for 24 hours a day. They don't work from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. If there's a need, we can call them any time of the day. So I'm mentioning these things so that members, when you come to Parliament asking for our vote to be increased, you must be sympathetic to it. But I'm not here today for budget things. But I'm just highlighting this. Our members, unlike any other members, they can be on overtime 365 days, depending on the situation which we're facing.
The number of days that members may go absent from work without permission had to be addressed as a matter of urgency. At this stage, a member of the intelligence community could be absent for up to 14 days before being fired.
It has proven to be quite a risky thing, to allow your members to be absent for 10 working days or 14 working days, a very long time. And in that period, you can be compromised totally because you don't know what this member is doing. Where is this member? He's not reporting on duty. And that gives us expulsion of the member and to allow us to take counterintelligence measures to protect ourselves. So we're just saying it appears to be really too long. And this has been raised over the years and we have not addressed this. And we are saying, because this poses a huge risk to the community, we can't wait until 2014. Currently, we're dealing with some of those cases.
Members of the committee had several follow-up questions, but the DA's David Mania first tried to slip in a question on fires that had occurred at intelligence offices in Durban.
The Minister referred to the budget, and I do think that there's an issue which the Minister ought to deal with, which is of public concern and currently in the media. We read that the State Security Agency's office in Durban burned down, and that there have been a number of break-ins.
Can I draw
and that
your
the Minister
attention?
will require presumably more money to rebuild his office.
Honourable Member, please. You've been naughty now, and we got visitors here. We have an agreement, Honourable Member, that we will deal with points of clarity. That is not a point of clarity. Can we deal with points of clarity, or can I move on to another member, Honourable?
Chair, I will move on, but I do think this is an issue which the Minister should address.
The issue of banning of the offices is being investigated, and we'll continue to brief the parliamentary committees on by all relevant agencies. The issue of budget has got nothing to do with it. Provincial offices are operational offices. And those offices were rented offices, and we've got a contract, and the person who's leasing these things to us is giving us alternative accommodation in terms of contract. Unfortunately, we won't tell you where it is now. And so it's got no budgetary implications, Mr. Eminent. So I just wanted to put you at ease at that.
In his briefing, the minister said the issue at stake in the bill was the proliferation of services. Mr. Mania thought that this would mean the centralization of services, just like in the old apartheid days.
That does seem to me to be a major policy change. I say that because if we look at the minister's own white paper in 1995, and I quote, it says, "The most significant departure from the old dispensation is that instead of one centralized national civilian intelligence organization, there will be two. This arrangement will not only ensure that the new intelligence dispensation in South Africa corresponds with the general international trends, but it will promote greater focusing, effectiveness, professionalization, etc." What that suggests is that the minister's proposal to set up the State Security Agency, and indeed this amendment bill, is not only out of line with the general international trends, but is also taking us back to the old apartheid dispensation.
You can't compare what is going to happen to what was happening during the apartheid system, that is of centralizing. This, firstly, in all departments, in all portfolios, you've got only one DG. But in intelligence, you had various DGs. A DG NAIE for NIA, a DG for SANAI, a DG for COMSEC, a DG for SAS. Now we're putting them together so that they form one DG. Bringing them together.
We are a very small community and we've got no intention of bloating the intelligence community. This should be a specialized community of our government and society. The problem, I've said, was over years, this shift of resources from core business to support services was identified as early as late 90s, I think 1998, when the first meeting of the shared services was put in consultation with the then Minister of Finance, I think it was Trevor Manuel. But we have not really succeeded because once you have got accounting officers, they tend to maintain their departments and they want everything. You know, when they say people like many of the politicians are vote maximizers and the bureaucrats are budget maximizers. They never give up once you've given them until you take bold steps. So it was really a problem because the growth was in the corporate service. It was not on the core business of intelligence.
It emerged that spies are being paid better than their counterparts, but even they run out of cash. Some of them even melt their medals awarded to them for excellent service and sell the gold to make ends meet. This emerged after a question of Mr. Jerome Marke of the ANC, who asked why medals awarded to members of the intelligence community had to be registered.
So I'm just interested. I've never seen a medal awarded by a security agency. Neither have I ever seen a certificate on a wall somewhere. Where do they put these medals and the certificate?
I hope that no one will answer this question. Yes, we do issue medals, intelligence community. Each and every year we celebrate Intelligence Services Day, where we reward those who perform more than their call of duty. They are given different categories of medals, either in gold, silver, or bronze. The challenge why we're saying they must be registered, we've seen something very unprofessional. where we caught some of our members melting the gold and selling it. You see, and we discovered that in our current law, there was no provision for registration of these things, so that they must be satisfied and show that they can't sell it. So it's unfortunate. It's very few members. I think only 2 members in the whole community have discovered that they've done this thing, that they were melting our medals. When you give you a medal, Mr. Maynard, you must keep it for life because you must value it. You can't then go and sell it because you want to go and buy groceries. So it is to address that problem because it was never envisaged that people in our community can degenerate to that level. So that's a reason we're saying now they must be registered. We have had 2 cases over the last, is it 18 years now, 17? I can't remember. 17 years. So we've had only 2 cases, but it's not a desirable thing for people to melt the medals.
Who's to take credit for exposing corruption? We hear from government and the opposition how they feel about that after the break. We'll be back in a moment.